Good evening. This is Luke Thomas Holmquist here at the Earthquake Forecast Center, quakeprediction.com. And here is the forecast. We have a forecast for California, Greece, Alaska, and Japan. We'll start with California. And this graph is made up of thousands of data points, and it's working really well. So we're going to stick with this. When the energy peaks, that's when we can expect a strong earthquake. This one is for California. Back here on December 7th, we had a spike in risk of 5.4 and a 5.8 hit. And then on the 19th, we had a strong spike here, and it was a 6.2 in Northwest California near Petrolia. This huge spike in risk here on the 28th into the 29th, I believe the energy was transferred on the other side of the Pacific plate. A 7.3 hit over on the west side of the Pacific plate. So I believe that energy was transferred. And that was a huge amount of energy. And I believe we were very lucky that we didn't get that in California, because that was an incredible, that was 6.7 material. That was a huge amount of risk. This next peak here on the 5th produced a 4.8. And now we have another one coming up on the 11th into the 12th. And now let's look at the forecast maps here. Right now, the risk is right around San Francisco Bay, this hot spot right here. And the same thing for the 11th into the 12th. And the risk peaks on the 11th into the 12th right here. So we can expect a significant earthquake. I think about a 4.5 to 5.5 is likely in the San Francisco Bay area during the next about 36 hours, probably. On the 11th or 12th, most likely in the 11th. And that should hit from Northwest California near Eureka and Petrolia down to the San Francisco Bay and maybe up to Reno, but most likely near the San Francisco Bay during the next 36 hours or so. We'll get to more. Actually, we're getting a lot of strong signals right now coming out of Southern California along the Garlock Fault. And that is very concerning. And we'll be looking into that tomorrow and the next day and during the next week or so to see what comes of that and what data comes out of that as far as the risk graph here. So we'll see. Please stay tuned for that. Alaska, the risk was up here north of Anchorage on the 9th through the 12th, and a 3.6 hit up in there. You can see we had a pretty strong peak on the 9th, and that's still might produce a even stronger quake in that area near Anchorage, because the peak is on the 9th and we're on the 10th. So sometimes they're a little early or a little late. So we'll see. The risk remains very high near north of Anchorage. That's where that 3.6 hit, north of Anchorage. All right. In Greece, we had a warning. You can see this right here in Greek here. It says 6.0 earthquake is likely in the Greece area on the 10th through the 12th, because we have a spike in risk, a very strong spike in risk on the 10th. And we did get a 5.5 in that area as well. Right, let's see here. Yes, right here, 5.5 in Northwest Greece. Right up in this area here, in this warning area here. But we also got a 6.6 east and southeast of Greece near Cyprus just a little bit ago, about an hour or two ago. This 6.6 earthquake hit southeast of Greece during the warning for a 6.0 earthquake. Now we got that 5.5 on the 9th, and this is a 6.6 that was over here in southeast of Greece. But very interesting that during this very strong peak here, that 6.6 hit southeast of Greece. So they don't always hit in the exact spot where they're located to forecasted to hit. So it's just good to be on alert when we have these strong peaks like this. And in Japan, the risk is down here near Shizuoka and south of Tokyo. And I believe, let me see here real quick. We had, let's see. We had this quake here that was on back on the 5th. We had a 4.1. There it is. 4.1 here down in that area of high risk down here. You can see that quake right here is down in this risk area here. And that is where the risk is right now. The overall risk in Japan is quite low. You can see that compared to the California risk, we have these strong spikes in risk. Japan has been very, very quiet. And back on this 14th and 15th of December, we had a bunch of quakes off of the Tokyo, southeast of Tokyo. But right now, the risk is quite low in Japan. Very interesting. Once again, let's see here, in California, we have a few quakes hitting around the state here, very small quakes. 3.7 hit up here in Northeast Nevada, but otherwise pretty quiet right now. But you can see we have a strong spike in risk coming up on the 11th and 12th, which should produce at least a 4.0. Here's the 4.0 line right there. So at least a 4.0, I'm thinking 4.5 to 5.5, because this one produced a 4.8 in East Central California on the 5th, this spike in risk here. So thinking about a 4.5 to 5.5 in the San Francisco Bay Area. This is the forecast map for right now. And this is the map for tomorrow into the 12th. So be prepared for that. It could always be bigger, but most likely it follows the risk level here follows the size of the quake as well. You see this peak here was a 5.8. This large one here was a 6.2. And this produced a 7.3 on the western side of the Pacific plate. And this one produced a 4.8. So this should produce about a 4.5 to 5.5 earthquake during the next 36 hours. We'll keep you updated tomorrow, and we'll try to get a forecast out every day and keep you updated here at quakeprediction.com. It's going to be very active coming up in the next week down on the Garlock Fault, I believe. So please stay tuned and we'll give you some updates on that quake. But for now, a significant earthquake coming to San Francisco Bay to Northwest California during the next 36 or 48 hours. Thanks again to the 187,000 followers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we've been going at this in the 17th year of research. And our forecasts are getting better and better. The graphs that you see there on the site at quakeprediction.com are doing really well at portraying when the risk is high in that country or that state. So stay tuned and God bless, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.